Why do you keep saying, I have to? Is that really true? Welcome to my new video. This one is about tiny words that have a huge impact on our lives and our thinking. For a long time, although I'm someone who pays close attention to the words that he's using, these words have really kind of escaped my focus. And it was only at the beginning of this year someone mentioned that, and I want to multiply this knowledge here because I think it's really important and it's absolutely overlooked. Absolutely. Because I hope it's already clear to you that there is this tight connection between our thoughts and especially the words we are using for them, our speech and our action. Right? Because before you utter something, you have to think it first, and it's already in the thinking where you can manipulate which kind of words you're using, right? But if you have already uttered something, that makes it already more concrete. And then also you're more likely to act on that which you have spoken. But even if you don't speak it out, your thoughts have a huge impact on how you live your life. And this is my intention of this video, to improve your life quality by putting your focus onto specific words that we are using. So yeah, I hope it's already clear that what I just described is a fact. Otherwise, I just want to add a small example for you. If you say, I have to work, that already creates some kind of pressure in your head, right? I mean, this sentence doesn't really sound good. I have to work. And what I'm trying to demonstrate in this video is that you should really think about changing this word and replace it with something else, like I choose. I choose to work. I want to work. I am working. I'm going to work. Because if you really look into it, like this word have to and also the word must, they carry this energy of forcing something in them. So if you think about it, let's take the word must. I think so when I say must in the English language, for me it's kind of the same as have to, right? So, but to make things a bit easier here, let's stick with the word must. It always implies this impulsion or coercion to do something. But if you really think about it, at least that's my conclusion after thinking about it, there is not a single thing in life that you have to do or that you must do. Think about it. Like, you might say, I must breathe. But that's not even true. You can decide to close your nostrils, close your mouth, and then maybe you die because you get no oxygen, right? I mean, but the fact is you don't have to breathe. I mean, this is the most extreme example, but as you come from that perspective, depending on whether you just think that, oh, that's just, like philosophical or theoretical knowledge, let me get to more concrete examples where, let's say, it's closer to what might actually happen. So you might say, I have to work. But what really lies behind the sentence? I mean, it's a relatively easy sentence, but there is a lot of implications in there. So let me just assume for a second that what you really want to express there is, I want to survive and I want to have a good life, I want to be able to purchase the products that I want. And to get that, I'm assuming that I would need money for this. And how do you get money these days? By working. Okay, thus the idea is I work to get money, to get these things. Fair enough. But I mean, the sentence is obviously not true, right? You don't have to work. You must. You must not. No, you don't have to. I'm not sure how to express in English perfectly, but you don't have to do anything. You don't have to work. There may be a lot of alternative ways, for example, to get to money. Let's just say you want to marry a rich husband. You don't have to work, okay? These things are possible. It may sound a bit funny, but I'm trying to point out here that these words must and have to, they kind of imply that there is no alternative to this thing that you want to achieve. Like as if there is only one strategy to achieve a certain thing. And that is never true. At least as far as I could think of anything, there are always alternatives. And as I said in the beginning example with breathing, you don't have to do anything. And that's a big point, because first of all, you get more alternatives. Secondly, you get to think about, why do I hold this belief that I have to do X, Y, Z? Like there's this self-reflection aspect. And I mean, it also reduces the pressure in your life. I mean, for me, that was the most striking thing when I thought about these things. Like this simple word, I mean, this small word like must, it creates such a pressure, but it's not even true, right? So, I mean, if you find any example where must or have to can be applied, and that's the best word to use there, and this the most exact you can express that, please write that in the comments, because honestly, I don't think there is anything where these words should have a place. Which brings me to another big point, which is when I see how you say engrained these words are into our everyday language. I mean, it's not just English, right? It's also the other languages. And then if you think about that, I mean, it's not really true what these words are expressing. And we are we're using it against ourselves and also against other people in a sense. It's like a word that carries a negative energy with it, right? I mean, it's not a loving word. It's not a open word or whatever. It's kind of like force and coercion. So, I mean, of course, these energies do exist in our human experience, that's for sure. But my point is that we have been using these words for hundreds and thousands of years. And we might consider, as mankind, to change these words, to replace them with something else, something that is more accurate. I guess that's the work of each individual, right? I mean, I can't stand here with a flag saying, hey, let's just abolish this word. But yeah, that's another aspect. Like, it's more accurate. It's more accurate to express what you really want to express. Because I'm someone who tries to use the most accurate words for his thoughts and when communicating with other people. So with this example of must and have to, yeah, I invite you to find alternative ways of expressing what you really want to say, and look at it like every time you say must or have to. I mean, especially if you start the sentence with I must, I have to. Especially then, try finding alternatives. At least say, I'm deciding to. or I want to. The second word that I want to put your attention towards is should. It's kind of similar. It's not as strong as must or have to, but it carries this idea of someone else saying what is right and wrong. It has this, yeah, you know, oh, society tells me to do X, Y, Z. And this is another aspect. I mean, I'm not really sure, going back in like time, thousands of years or hundreds of years, how much this was actually used as a means of manipulation only. I'm not really sure. But when I look at these words and follow the, let's say, the energy behind it, I don't want to sound too esoteric here. If you follow the energy behind it, it means following someone's values. And if you look closely whenever you use this word, most likely you will notice that these values are not even your own values. It's something that someone from the outside has told us, or we've heard, or we've, even worse, maybe we've heard other people say that to other people who are then connected to us. So it's not even like, it can be so far away where this idea or meaning comes from that you should or you shouldn't. For example, you shouldn't get angry. Look at this sentence. I mean, superficially it may be true. It may look true, but it's not. It's absolutely not. Like, it implies that emotion, like in this case the emotion of anger, is not right, which is devastatingly wrong. Every emotion is right. There is no wrong emotions. You can be angry. It's allowed, right? The universe has given you the ability to be angry and to be sad and to be horny, whatever you want to. All these emotions are okay. But with these should, there are some people who try to restrain something, right? It's a word, again, that restrains certain things. And it has to do with someone else telling you something. And if you look at it, for me, the, let's say the quintessence is the idea that there is someone else who has authority in any way. And for me, that's not true anymore. Like, the only authority, that is me. You are the only authority in your life. There is no one else in the outside. Yes, there's people who work for certain companies that carry the brand police, yeah, and there are certain people who call themselves judges, and that's also true. But, I mean, think about it on a very easy level. You were born, they were born, and was anyone born with authority over the other? No. And at what point in time should that have changed? Because they started to work in a company? I mean, no. My view on this is, if you really understand what I'm saying here, you are the topmost authority in your life, and you make the decisions. So should. You can also make, like, the idea of you should do something. It can also come from you, right? But look at all of these shoulds and shouldn'ts, because it may be that you're carrying a lot, it's most likely you're carrying a lot of these belief systems with should and shouldn't that don't even come from your own system. Like, someone else brought it to you. And that's my invitation at this point, to really self-reflect whenever you say these words. And I mean, it won't work like right ahead that every time you use this word, you replace it with something else, but realize you're using this word, be aware, and then in the next step, think about how could you say that differently. To give you one example, why all of this is so important. Now, you may not have realized the importance of what it is, I'm not sure, but I want to give you an example. Recently I had a healing coaching session with someone, and she's about 50 years old. And she had this belief, I have to be strong, right? I must be strong. And talking about it, we came to the understanding that she has to be strong because if she's weak, then other people will see that weakness and abuse it. The interesting thing is we tested it out, and this actually never occurred in her life, right? So it's also my experience that, I mean, over the recent years, I learned to show weakness and to be open about it, right? And I haven't met people who abuse this weakness. I mean, I'm kind of in a kind of conscious and developed state, so to say. I don't hang around with a lot of idiots, like zero, I hope. But in this session, like, it was just in her head that someone could use or abuse this weakness if she's not strong enough. Like, she's working for, like, she's taking work for 10 people, let's say, to show that she's strong, which also in that case meant that she could not accept help because someone who is strong doesn't need help, right? And it's only when we looked at this sentence, I have to be strong, that we found this huge kind of knot in the belief system. That is absolutely not right. We all have our limits. You have your limits, everybody has. And there's absolutely no point in going past that limit, because for her it manifested in a disease that was rather ugly, and only through self-reflection. And that is my big mantra for this whole channel and my life. Like, self-reflection is the most important thing that you can do in your life. And that's why this channel is here, and also this video. And this knot, we could kind of unknot and then insert new affirmations for that. So I hope that this small example gave you an idea why you should be really careful. You should be really careful with these words. And as you can see here, it's because it's so deeply ingrained in the language to say should. I mean, there's a lot behind it, right? My idea when I say this sentence to you, you should, is that if you want to improve your life, then the current idea I'm giving you is, or I can say, you should look at this, right? I mean, it's shorter, but it's not as accurate, right? Because what the other person implies and the intentions of that person are not clear, right? When I'm recording this video, my intentions are to help you, to improve your life, right? And thus, when I say you should look at this, there is kind of like good intentions behind that. It's not a force. Like, if you do it or not, I mean, it's your life. If you fuck up your life, it's not my story, right? I just want to help you. And this is one of those, slightly dangerous things, because many things can hide behind this should, or have to, or shouldn't. And that's why I'm saying it's really worth looking at these constructions. Well, thank you very much for watching this video. If you are considering a healing coaching session with me, that is definitely possible. I can also work remotely. I can also heal remotely. So if you should be interested in that, I do have a website. Currently it's only in German, but maybe with some Google Translate magic you can translate it into English. You can find my website on www.healingcoach.eu. I would be looking forward to reading a lot of your comments, especially if you find any examples of must or have to that actually are true. And yeah, just share your experience, maybe whether this helped you or not, or whether you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. Also leave a thumbs up if you want to. if you liked the video. Thanks for watching this video and have a great day.